Hey, I'm Jay, and in this video, I'm going to be making Thanos. Thanos and all Marvel characters belong to Marvel Studios, a subsidiary of Disney Entertainment. This is in no way affiliated with Marvel or its parent company. All images remain the property of the respective copyright owners. All hail the mouse. Alright, so yeah, in this video we're going to be making Thanos. I just thought it'd be another opportunity to do kind of a fun video where I just hit record and I make something. You know, this is kind of on the heels of seeing Endgame twice and the phenomenon that it was. I just thought it would be kind of a fun little project to do. And as it's been known to happen, things kind of spiraled out of control. And now we have a huge video again. In total, it really only took about 7 hours over 3 separate sessions to make this model and image. So it's in about a week, which is like kind of on cadence with what I want to do. I'd like to be able to make something every week, and then just editing, you know, dang. I mean, I could easily make a 6-hour version of this video. So we got it down to what it is now. It's over an hour. And, you know, shout out to all the people that leave me comments and hit me up on social media and say that they like long form videos. This one's for you. I do think it's cool that sometimes people just put on the video while they work too. I think that's rad. I know that these type of videos might not be for everybody, but this is what happened this time. We're throwing it out there. So, you know, let me know what you think. I don't know. So yeah, that's about it. Why don't we just jump in right now and we'll get started to work on our cosmic purple beefcake, Thanos. I chose to go with Thanos as the subject of this video because I thought it'd be fun, and you know, it's kind of like pop culture-y right now. I personally saw Endgame twice. You know, I love those big cinematic events that a lot of people get involved with at the same time. It's the same kind of reason why I love Star Wars and Game of Thrones. So this year's been super tight for that kind of thing. I thought it'd be cool to do Thanos. Lots of other really talented artists have done their own takes on Thanos and reproduced them and stuff. And I think I'm gonna leave that to their expertise. And so in this video, I'm just gonna try to have some fun, try to keep it as a small project, and more do somewhat of an homage to the older comic book kind of styles, one of which by Ron Lim is gonna be one of my key references, along with some other references from comic book covers and stuff from back in the day. So it's probably gonna be kind of a mashup, maybe with some influence of the character from the movies. You know, we're just gonna do our own thing and have some fun. So I just grabbed this tool right out of Zbrush. It ships with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to position this guy into kind of the position I want to then sculpt from. Nothing too crazy. I'm going to end up with a portrait at the end. I'm also planning on moving this over to Keyshot to do some, you know, some fancier renders. And one of the aspects that I thought would be cool is to keep this kind of car paint type of look to the armor. So I'm really going to try to draw inspiration from these older comic book illustrations. Hopefully at the end we keep that kind of colors and bold material stuff. I love the idea of the gold mixed with car paint and purple skin. We're going to get a big smiling grimace. I know my last video had a smile in it too. This one's going to be more of an evil smile. So I'm going to get this mesh into position. All right, so let's grab this guy. First, what we can do is delete some stuff that we don't want. Oops, I forgot about that. This mesh has layers. I'm just gonna bake all. So it comes with some layers, which generally is a nice touch, but right now we don't want that. I'm gonna delete hidden, which I keep up here in my dock. Right now we're going to lower the arms. Switch to my transpose line. Looks pretty good. There we go. All right, drop that down. Now let's make him buff. One little trick to making someone look super buff is to scale their head down. That seems like a good idea. This guy's neck also seems like super long. Beep. So we know we want his face to be pretty big. Pretty big. Oh, got some inflate, why not? Try to mass up this volume here. There we go, looking big, looking big. Let's get some mean old traps up in here. There we go. So divided for the first time here. Going to open his mouth. Let's get a big old smile here. Happy guy. Okay. I think it's starting to look Thanos shaped. So I think it's all right. Didn't spend too much time, but put things in a position. Smile's a little wonky. That's for sure. It's kind of crazy that the this base mesh comes with a whole inner mouth. That's kind of cool. So I think next step is I'm going to grab my teeth again, actually. So I'm gonna run and grab my teeth. I might even be able to use this without using Z-Remesher. We'll see. It's not the worst topology, so why not? So I'm gonna go grab this teeth and I'm gonna import the teeth again so we can work on the smile. And I think I'm just gonna do some placeholder eyes. That way we can get a better sense of the character. And then I think I'll also block out the armor that goes around, like his cowl. That way we get a really quick first pass on all elements of the character. We can see it together and start seeing how, you know, it's shaping up and what we want to change. So we got our teeth in here. We'll turn on transparency. I think something like this. Turn off transparency here. Once the mesh for the teeth are in there, then it's time to start moving the areas of the mouth and the chin and everything around that form. The teeth really inform you how the lips and stuff will position, so just taking the move brush and making big changes. There we go. Sizing the nose, scaling the nose really helped. Also think getting the nostril to finish down here will be good. We got the smile. It's just not evil yet. So this is a spear. You can see a lot of what makes Thanos look so big and strong is the scale, like the proportion of his facial features. Large jaw, small eyes, small nose, makes his skull look humongous. That eye might even be too big, to be honest. That might be too big. And we're gonna do the same trick as before, right? We're gonna rotate it out a little bit. 3 degrees. Teehee. Okay, now we can use this mirror up here in the Z plugin to mirror this over and keep our subdivisions. Subtool master, mirror, merge into one subtool, x-axis. Yoink. We'll press X, so now we've got symmetry. Now we'll go back over to our main face and we'll start pushing and pulling. I think tiny eyes are important to this guy. Okay, I think these teeth need to be really big. We need to make these teeth ginormous. There we go. Definitely want to get the smile line good. The smile is not right. There we go. Now it's looking evil. More evil. Let's save this and block out his armor. Boom. Sphere. Alright, so I just appended a sphere. I set a really low Dynamesh resolution. And then I'm just going to start pushing and pulling this around with a big move brush. I like to start a lot of meshes like this. We're just going to mush things around, keep it real dirty. And then we're going to use Z-Remesher to make a base mesh that's nice and clean. So we can use this to make a final, tight, high poly model. Why don't we see what's gonna happen? One, boom. Hey, not bad. Oh, kind of bad, actually. Okay, new plan. All right, let's see how this goes. See, can I do this? Boop. And can I do this? Boop. Good. So now we're gonna delete hidden and auto groups, which leaves us with this one as its own island. Delete hidden again. Now I'm going to make this a polygroup. So now we have 2 polygroups. So now if I keep groups and I Z remesh again, I got something nice and clean, right? Bam. Sick. I think what I'm gonna do though is cut this in half. Boom. There we go. Nice and clean, right? I mean, I don't know. Can I do it again? Let's see. I like this one. Screw it. I want to make this double-sided for now so that we can see. I'm going to give it thickness a little bit later. But now that it's double-sided, at least I can see and I can move this stuff into position. So I can already tell that a couple of things. I want to make his eyes a little bit closer together, maybe a bit smaller. I think I'm going to make the top of his cranium here smaller. So we're just going to jump in and start making some changes. I'm speeding up the footage again. This is mainly going to be some tweaks. These kind of things come kind of spontaneously after I start adding elements. You know, the more pieces of the puzzle that get put together, the clearer the whole character starts to become. So I'm going to be, like right now, moving the teeth. This is mostly move brush, by the way. Changing the overall proportion. So this is primary shapes. Right here, you know, adjusting the eye shape, like the negative space around between the eyelids. And then I'm going to be jumping around to the teeth, to the armor, maybe a little bit of the smile. So overall, we'll see at the end, this might not be huge differences, but I think each of these small changes add up to, you know, overall a different impression. I'm using the damp standard brush right now to actually sketch in those scar lines, which, you know, gives it more Thanos vibes and, again, more pieces of the puzzle so that we can start seeing the character a little bit more clearly and inform more and more decisions. Also, working on that brow furrow, trying to make this smile evil. That's going to be kind of a ongoing challenge of this piece, is making the smile look not only like a genuine kind of smile, but like an evil, maniacal kind of smile. Checking that smile from all different angles. You can see I'm moving the camera around a lot, and overall using things like the move brush mainly, and a little bit of damp standard, and maybe sometimes the clay buildup brush if I want to change forms. But overall, just tweaking stuff, going over the wrinkles and the lines again with damp standard, and just checking all different angles. All right, gonna import a cylinder now to make the little ear cup thing. Got a little distracted messing around with the face and proportions, so didn't finish blocking out the armor yet. Okay, now I'm gonna use the Z modeler brush and delete a bunch of these. Cool, I'm gonna bevel this guy. So, pretty much where the ear is supposed to be. There we go. So now let's just jam this ear in here. Alright, so I'm going to continue blocking out the armor and stuff right now. I'm going back and forth on how I'm going to do the eye. I don't know if I'm going to do the eye, you know, somewhat semi-realistic. Might even use the eye I made before. Right now, I'm kind of torn between that and doing it more comic booky style and keeping it like a solid color, which is kind of like a cheat because it makes eyes look rad, you know, most of the time. You don't have to delve into the nuances too much. It'll just look cool to have like a glowing eye. So yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep blocking out the costume. I'm gonna take a break from the face for a sec, and yeah, let's just keep going with the helmet. So let's keep blocking out. To do the eyebrow armor, I'm just gonna cheat a little bit, and then I'm gonna mask it. This eyebrow armor really, you can tell, really helps the shape, like the facial shape. It's kind of ever present frown type of thing. Doesn't have to be too perfect right now, because right now I'm just going to extract so that we can still refine this shape. Okay. So this is obviously really big, but you can already see the Thanos shapes coming. So for thickness, why don't we do like that? That works. Actually, let's bounce it up a little bit more. So, boom. Good enough, I think. So yeah, when you extract, you know, it comes up with some poly groups. I'm gonna select this outer face and delete hidden. I also don't need this one. So I'm gonna delete this subtool. Delete this subtool, bam. Okay. I'm just gonna do one for now. Then I'll just mirror it over. Turn my slice on. So I'm just gonna make this edge clean. That's the idea here. Boop. There we go. There we go with that. Bam. So that's what I mean by refining the shape. Then I can run, oh, whoops. Do I need to delete hidden or something? There we go. So now I can try Z-remeshing this. Okay. What if we try legacy? Wow. Legacy is giving me better results though for some reason. Pretty butthurt about this, I'll be honest. I'm gonna be honest. Let's just keep going half and see if it does it. I might have to just use Z-modeler. Yeah, dang it. All right, I'm gonna use Z-modeler. I'm just gonna do this the old-fashioned way. Yep. All right, here we go. Stitch it. Actually, I can collapse this. Yeah, I'll collapse this. It's crazy to me. So yeah, I'm pretty much just modeling this at this point. Okay, let's just start deleting some edges too. Okay, can I delete this single edge? Hopefully. Please! Delete this edge! This I can collapse. What? Oh, Z-modeler. So if I tried to delete this edge, would it delete the whole freaking thing too? What are you doing? Fine. Fine. Make me click every single one. Edge loop partial. Edge. Delete the edge. Delete it. Delete. Bridge. Isn't this silly? Look how silly that was. All right, so that was kind of a lot of work that it shouldn't have needed to be. So long story short, here's some armor. Let me mirror it. All right, here's a Thanos frown. So now we got to make our little medallion-y thingy for the middle, in between his eyebrows here. I kind of like this round medallion look. So for that reason, actually it even means that I can put a little hook in this, which I kind of like doing, right? That's kind of cool. I think we want to get pretty extreme with these shapes. So I'm by no means done, you know. This is still like very much the beginning, but this is like the first time that right now I'm thinking with this project, like, oh, this is looking pretty cool. And it just reminds me of that cool feeling of working on someone else's design, which is like a good design, is pretty much cheating, because as I start putting the shapes into the character, you know, it just starts evoking those, you know, same feelings, the Thanos vibe, if you will. It's just a cool, big, strong, overlord, badass, celestial being comic book guy. It's starting to build confidence that this is going to end up looking cool. You know, when you start out, it just looks so messy because you're trying to get things together and you're trying to figure out where to go. And yeah, so it's just cool that it's starting to come together. Thanos, it turns out Thanos is a pretty strong design. Who knew? Okay, so where are we at here? All right, let's make a medallion. So I'm gonna duplicate this. Now we have two. Yep. So I'm gonna smooth it out. Do that. Again, we can refine this shape after we extract. Extract, accept. Select this guy. Okay, so here we go. Boom. Just did mirror and weld. Boom. Delete hidden. And let's start Z remeshing it. Okay, so that's obviously too muchy. I want to simplify this though. Which Z remesh will use it? Okay, let's do this. All right. Half. See, it's like the legacy is better at some things. That's weird, dude. Legacy shouldn't be better at anything. Okay, here's our medallion-y shape. Is it too many polygons is my question now. I'm gonna start collapsing. Boom. All right, stitchy, stitchy. Yeah, that's better. Boom. Medallion. Alrighty. That's that. Now we're gonna do the suit, I guess. Again, I'm gonna duplicate. Okay, so that's this shape. All right, now we're gonna extract just a tiny bit here. So 0.002 probably. Okay, good, I think this is it. Could have done this before, but I didn't. I want this mesh to be smooth, so I'm just smoothing out anything that could cause Z remesh to create more topology than it needs to. Let's see what we got. All right, so that's nice and low. I was gonna say we might need more than this, but you know what? This might do the trick. This might do the trick. Ah, I wish that was better, but I think I'm down to live with this, man. This is not too bad. Extrude all polygons. We're gonna do a little thick, so we want it to look pretty buff. Okay. Now, if we go to crease and crease polygroup, then hit D for sub D preview, you get to see what it's like. Not bad. Can do a little bit of a preview here. Look at his tiny head. All right. I think this is gonna work. Maybe this is maybe this material is a little distracting, huh? But we can still do something like reflected map. What about this one? All right. We are now working on the shape, and I can crease any corner I want to help it stay. Let me just jump down here and crease this one little edgy right here. So now it stays hard. Sweet. So really the subdivide is doing most of the work, as you can see. We just crisped the edges and then we crisped that little corner right there and bammo. Okay, so I think I am going to divide it one time though. Because when I divide it one time, I have some more polygons to get some more swoop in there. I kind of like the swoop. Okay, I'm gonna hop back over to the medallion now. Gonna extrude to give that thickness and start creasing its edges too, so we can start finishing up these armor pieces. I can even rotate it right now, actually. Yeah, I will rotate it. I will rotate it. Because then it'll go in line. Yeah, that's pretty tight. Tight. I like this. Okay, so I'm going to crease polygroups again. That'll give me this edge, right? But then what's cool is I'm gonna crease this whole thing right here. So that's what I think is cool, is then I get this lip. I don't know why that's like that. So let me uncrease this edge. I held Alt to do that. Then I'm gonna tap that. I'm gonna tap this. There you go. So now we get this nice shape right here. I could do gold now. I'll just fill this for now. I'll also do this one. Because why not? That way we get to see Mr. Thanos. I think this guy needs a snarl though, dude. All right, so I'm gonna start adding a little form here that'll become the snarl using the clay buildup brush. And overall, we're gonna spend some time refining the face. You see me actually just moving teeth around now. Again, big move brush stuff, but starting to do smaller things, just making the form sit better. You know, I was working on the inside of the mouth there, jumping around between damp standard to refine lines, clay buildup always to do any kind of, you know, serious form sculpting, and then obviously the move brush to tweak things around. I'm gonna throw some quick poly paint on the teeth here. This is just, again, so we can see it in context. Same thing while the eyes have some poly paint. Refining the tear duct section, you know, the squint. So you can see how much I jump around, and also how I try not to spend too much time in any one section of the model. All right, let's try to make some of these panel lines. So to do that, I'm deleting lower, and I'm gonna do some Z modeling. And that's my plan, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, so extrude polygroup. It doesn't look bad. It's just not exactly where I would put this stuff. Looks kind of cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep moving on because you can't really even see this from the view I'm expecting to do. Okay, let's see what happens with this guy. Oh my gosh. All right, not bad. I actually think that we can just, there we go. All right. Let's just extract, see what we got. Extract all this. Not gonna do too much this time, I don't think. Going to crease polygroup, and then I'm gonna do some more creases, like right here. Actually, just gonna see what this look like. Get a little fancy with my creases. Boom. Yeah, little swoop action. I'm gonna change the sub D preview, or I guess they call it dynamic sub D here. Okay, 3. We're gonna go to 4 here. Yeah, so it's super shiny. Same with this one back here. There we go. So now when we, you know, Shift D and we drop it down, this is the model, and then I hit D and it's showing me what it would be like on subdivision 4. So I think I'm going to try to wrap up the armor now so that I can just spend the rest of the time detailing the face. You know, just refining the face, the forms, and trying to get some details in there. Right now he looks definitely a little bit too smiley. It looks like he's posing for a picture and saying cheese, which is not scary. Like, it wouldn't be as scary right up in the movie. He was just like... This doesn't seem as menacing. We want more of like a happy maniacal smile. I'm gonna try not to get too distracted. Let us do some armor. Let's see if we can scale this edge loop. Oh, there we go. Get a little bit of bend on it. Bevel. Boop. Might be kind of cool for me to keep these edges, so I'm gonna crease these. All right. See what we got right now. Bam. So I need to make sure that the seam in the armor looks good, and then the little lip, you know, around the cowl piece of the armor. So right now I'm trying to do this as an all-in-one model without doing separate models, but make it look like there's a segment. And then I'm probably going to add the couple models in the middle. There's one of the images that I like. It's got some extra little shapes. So let's see if we can make the seam here. We're going to start with a bevel. We'll go kind of deep in there. So we're going to get some shadow when we render. I'm going to keep this down there by creasing it. Boop. Boop. Now I'm going to bevel the edges here. All right, then we can check how this looks real quick. All right, it's still a little thin. I think we could do better, but now I'm going to move over to the trim of the cowl armor. I'm going to speed this up. So I just inserted an edge, and then I deleted the other edges to make, you know, what's going to become this lip. I made this a poly group, so you can see it's nice and flat now, and I'm going to use this angle to extrude my border edge. Then I'm going to bevel those. So essentially I'm just making this rounded form that's a trim along my whole armor. I'm going to pay attention to that crease in between the armor and the trim. Try to make that nice and sharp. I'm also going to add I'm going to insert another edge here on the tip that's going to make kind of a blurry, you know, crease so that it's a little bit more interesting than being totally round. And then I'm actually gonna adjust the neck collar a little bit since we have these poly groups. So now I've got all the elements that are gonna make up my cowl armor. I swear I already worked on these. No. What? Ah, bummer, man. So somehow I lost this. Now I gotta do the eyebrows again. Bummer. So now I'm redoing the eyebrows. And if they end up not looking as good, I'm just gonna lie to myself and say that they do so that I don't have to cry myself to sleep. I'm gonna try putting an edge right here just so I can match it up with this medallion and see if it like makes it look more homogeneous. I do think it's kind of cool, but yeah, this pinch is no good, no bueno. I'm gonna be honest, I don't feel like these eyebrows are better than the first time, but you got to move forward. You know, I'm trying to forget the past. It just hurts. It hurts. I kind of like this direction of trying to make a little angle in the eyebrow to match up the medallion. Every one of my images, by the way, of Thanos, you know, all the armor has different interpretations. So I'm kind of taking some elements from some of them that I like, but in general, each artist has interpreted the center medallion and the brow and the cowl armor, you know, in their own way. So I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm just trying to keep the spirit of the brow furrow. I like the swoopy shape. I could even try using the medallion as a way to like, maybe I don't want it to break the edge here. You see how the eyebrows are coming down? Like maybe I want it to meet up with the medallion. So that this way it looks more integrated, you know? Or maybe I just want it to break just a little bit. You know, I'm not sure. Probably just want it to break a little bit. That pinch is no good. I'm gonna do a little test to see if I can keep this crispy angle here. You can see the pinch, this pinch right here. I'm gonna try to fix it. So I'm gonna take it through the whole process here. I'm gonna subdivide it with the crease on, then I'm gonna turn the crease off, subdivide it a couple more times and see if I can smooth this thing out. So what if we hit divide one time? Bam. Now this is the new mesh. So it's all about this guy, I think, and this one. Just getting it to be right. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a turn. So I hope this works. This might work. Dang it. Really thought that was gonna work. We're still getting this annoying pinch, which is a bummer. Dang, so weird that I get this pinch. Okay. Can I insert an edge loop right here to help support it? Whoa, look at it drop. Why is it dropping so much? Man, this thing's bringing a real pain in the butt. Real pain. Dang. Made it worse. Ugh. God. Every level. I'm coming in here to fix. All right, is this doable? Maybe. It is gold. Hitting the corners with a smooth right now. Gold is a softer metal, that's why I said that. Trying to see if this will end up looking goldy. I do want the edges to catch light, so I mean I am going to be doing what I'm doing right now either way. So just seeing if you can see how the light's now coming on this edge. That's what I want. So I don't want any like super right angles. So let's see, when I smooth this, how does it look? Let's also boop. Okay. Okay. I think the reflected map is not doing a good job. We'll see once it gets in a Keyshot. I have a suspicion that the brows will look better, but maybe not. So I'm gonna try to beef these, like round out this bottom part essentially. Kind of see with the light and the shadow now. Actually, let's get some H polish. Well, bam. There we go. Kind of helped with the swoop. Because then I can just wham. All right. So yeah, definitely when we get a shiny gold metal on there, it ends up being a little bit more forgiving and cool. All right. I think we got some eyebrows. Ladies and gentlemen. That took a little bit. So we made a little bit of progress. Went a little bit backwards because of the eyebrow armor. But at least now this one's close to one of our final pieces now because I subdivided it, you know. I controlled the edges with crease and then I softened them a bit. So this is more representative of what these pieces would be with the little soft edges. And generally I think it's in a place that's pretty close to what would be final from what I expect. I'm looking forward to just getting into Keyshot and doing some look development with these materials and playing around with the lighting and stuff. Should be cool. But yeah, so that's it for this one, and I'll be back in a jiff. Boom. All right, so we back in the next session now, and feeling like we made some good progress. So the goal for this session is to finish this guy up. Taking a look at what we've done. Armor's in a pretty good place. Gonna finish up these little earmuffs here. And then should be able to dive into the skin and stuff, I guess. So yeah, armor's in a pretty good spot. Looks like I got a couple more details to put in the armor. I want to do these glowing lights. I think those would be pretty cool if they're, you know, quote unquote practical lights in Keyshot. I think I'm just gonna dive in right now and finish up these earmuffs. You know, tweak some stuff as I feel it, and then probably start doing face stuff. Just refine the face, start adding detail. Nothing too crazy. You know, I'm going to try to just keep this like fast and fun. Just try to have a good time. Hopefully at the end make an appealing image of Mr. Thanos over here. Let's do it. All right, so we're going to speed this part up too. This is kind of more of the same type of stuff. But what I did was after moving it around, I extruded the ring around it to give it a border edge. Then I beveled in between and tucked that inside, make it look like two pieces. And then I did a little bit of a soft crease around the circle to make it a little bit more interesting, and then called it a day. All right, so now I'm gonna work on this collar piece, and there's a couple ways right now in my head that I'm thinking of doing this like slit in the side where I want to put that light inside. I feel like one way is just to boolean that shape out, and then there's a couple ways to make that shape to take the cut out. So, but the first thing I'm gonna try is just to subdivide this mesh and actually just model it in. We'll see if that works. I feel like it's kind of direct. At least I know I have everything I can do that with right now. The problem that I'm trying to get by is that I want this whole cowl shape to be really smooth, you know, like a fender or something. So a super smooth shape with a cutout. So usually that causes a problem because the topology that you need to do the cutout conflicts with the smoothness, so there might be some pinching. And if there is some pinching enough to like be bothersome, then I might just try to like boolean this shape out afterwards. But right now, let's just see if I can just get away with modeling it, because that'd be cool. So I divided it one time. I think I'm just gonna delete the lower subdivision now. And yeah, let's see if I can just model this. So, okay, so first up, I think what I'm gonna do is bevel where I want this to be. So I guess the limiting factor here is these edges, so I'm gonna move them out. Delete, delete. Now bevel. Boom, okay, that could be wide enough. Now I'm gonna use one of the handy tools inside Z Modeler is split. I really like this. Somewhere like right here. So yeah, I'm actually gonna split this right here, and then once it gets close, I'm gonna stop. Boop. So if I just tap, you know, it'll do it again. So now I need to, with my Z Modeler brush, I need to get way up in here. I'm gonna uncrease everything right now, and we'll have to just do creases again afterwards. So I'm gonna stitch this point to this point. Good. Zoom in here, stitch this point to this point. I guess I can just get rid of this like that. All right, can I? Good. So now I'm gonna do this. Grab both of them. Yes, group visible. Boom. This is a color now. Oops. Group visible. Good enough. Good. All right. So we have this shape. I'm just gonna extrude this right now. Let's see. Pew. Get pretty in there. Scale. Polygroup ball. Polygon center. Yeah, that works. So I can scale it a little bit. Yeah, bevel this. Nice. Ah, oh, dang. It's not working because of the triangles. Bummer. So when I bevel this. So now you can see the problems with ZModeler. Almost great. Almost super great. All right, well, we're going to do this the old-fashioned way because ain't nobody got time for this. So I'm going to move this along this edge. Boom. So I'm just masking these verts one by one. That's what's happening right now. And then I'm drawing the transpose line along their edge so I know that it's moving along the right vector. But this is for sure some ghetto modeling. But, you know, it's fine, dude. It would be tight if the bevel worked. For sure. Oh, actually, can I just stitch that? Cool, a little cheeky. Let's try. Stitch to there. Yeah, good enough. Why do I see that? You see that? What is that? Looks like I extruded through the bottom. Yep. Extruded through the bottom. Now we here. So I actually went so deep that the underside of the armor is poking through. I'm just poking down the... See what I mean? I'm just poking down the underside of the armor. Just don't tell anybody. Cool. So it looks like the straight up modeling is going to work. Let's get a little... some creases on here though. Make this look tight. So I think I'm going to keep that for at least one subdivision. So I think we're ready to subdivide some, eh? Hey, so we made the cutout on the armor. That's cool. I was a little worried about that, actually. So that was pretty straightforward. We used just used ZModeler. I think it's a good enough kind of job. And yeah. So let me drop down this armor. Now we have this, which is going to be our final high poly 2. Get some buff chesticles over here. Thanos definitely lifts, dude. Okay, so the last of our armor here is these two little shapes that are in the front of the armor. This is kind of same old in terms of techniques, and you know the video is already getting super long, so we're just gonna super turbo this, and I'll try to talk my way through it. So I just duplicated the subtool again, so I had the starting shape. I used the clip brush to start slicing out these shapes to make the triangles, you know, took a couple tries to get the shapes right. And then after I got those poly groups, I deleted everything else. Now I'm trying to use Z remesh to get a simplified mesh as best I can using the legacy, which seemed to be working a lot better for me. And then after I have a pretty good Z remesh, the goal is to make a simple mesh, and then I'm going to extrude, you know, taper it in a little bit so that it looks nice from the front, bevel the edges or crease them. And then, and that's pretty much it. Didn't spend too much time. Just thought it'd be nice to have these extra shapes because otherwise it'd be pretty boring. And that's pretty much it for these shapes. Kept it kind of simple. So once I was finished with this, I jumped over to the face. So let's do that right now. Okay, so over to the face. I'm going to speed up this part too. I'll mix in a little bit of real-time stuff, but you know, it'd take forever. And also... it's like there's no rhyme or reason. It kind of makes more sense when it's sped up. So you're going to see me trying out things. A lot of the work I do with faces, especially ones that aren't like a carbon copy, has a lot to do with, you know, intuition and just checking stuff. So, you know, I'm kind of abusing Control Z and I'm moving stuff, pinching stuff. And then in terms of refining the forms, I'm going to be subdividing and then going over forms like I just did right there with the damp standard brush. So when it comes to fine lines and wrinkles and creases, definitely going to be going over things with the damp standard. That's obviously the weapon of choice. And then, you know, when it comes up to building up and refining more secondary forms, I might jump into clay buildup again. But you can see kind of jumping around like a madman. and it looks a little crazy, just check the render. Always important to check when you can, check a render with the lighting. I'm also kind of setting this up as if it was the render. You know, I assume the render is going to be top-down light, front view like that. Got some of those little snarl wrinkles in. There was a clay buildup on the scrunch. And then and here you go with the squint. So starting to get smaller in terms of forms. Still secondary stuff, and still all symmetrical. Just broke symmetry right there, just for the little nose wrinkles, but that's about it. So clay buildup, maybe a little bit of inflate brush over there with the wrinkles and the squint area. But here you go. Here's a little bit of real time. You can see how it's a lot slower. And so now I'm going to grab a couple simple alphas, and we're going to start subdividing it all the way up and adding a little bit of tertiary detail to the mesh. Okay, so we're at 7 subdivision levels now. This should be high enough. I'm gonna start doing these little wrinkles. All right, so after adding the fine lines, I'm using some old simple alpha with some dots in it for the pores and spraying that on the surface too. And those two little alphas are combining to make this high frequency surface detail. So this is typically kind of a chill part where, you know, I can just spend time, no symmetry, and just, you know, kind of go with the flow. Obviously, like, he's like really full screen right now, and yeah, I'm just like kind of going over edges, making these like kind of crisscrossy patterns sometimes to break up an edge, you know, so it's not straight. But that's the name of the game right now, is making something look organic. So irregularity and mistakes are kind of your friend right now, so it's kind of fun. You know, I just spattered a bunch of texture, nothing too crazy, nothing perfect. This is really just to break up the light, so I'm not getting too invested in this. This isn't like some macro photography thing, you know, and it's forgiving. That's why it's kind of cool, you know. Trying not to use undo too much, which is hard to do. But yeah, just going over these lines, and since there is no symmetry, it's kind of fun, and it's kind of good to try and like take advantage, you know. If there's no symmetry, you might as well like try to emphasize that. You don't want it to look symmetrical, because then what's the point, you know? So like right there, it's kind of cool. So I don't want this one to look like that. You know, the reason I decided to make a little Thanos piece, I mean, I was definitely a part of the hype, dude. Like going to the movie. I wouldn't say like I'm some kind of diehard Marvel fan or something, but I do love like blockbuster extravaganzas, and the fact that everyone was gonna go see this movie, it was cool, man. I like that kind of thing. It's like exciting, you know, and you're like, feel like you're taking part in something along with everyone. And I'm kind of a special effects geek a little bit, so it's just a crazy spectacle, you know. And the movie was fun. I ended up seeing it twice. My studio, we all went, and then the next morning I saw it, so it was like pretty close to each other. But it didn't disappoint. It did not disappoint. Another thing that kind of pushed me over the edge, like I say, I'm kind of into special effects, right? And how much money it made, how many people went to go see it opening weekend, definitely made me think this could be the contender for breaking the James Cameron's records. I've just always thought it's amazing that James Cameron has the top 2 spots. But just before I started making this, Endgame officially passed Titanic in terms of gross, box office gross. So I imagine they're gonna pass up Avatar too. Not sure. I could nitpick some parts of the movie. I mean, I let a lot of stuff go, you know, who cares? But it was a little bit of a bummer that when you see Thanos like from the past at the end in like the big fight, like he's still super buff. Like he doesn't have any of the stones. I mean, until later he does, you know, but like he's just a big purple guy, and he's like fighting all our superheroes, you know. It's like, how can you be so buff when you're just an alien guy? you know? He's like fighting off Thor and shit. But whatever. Then I remind myself that it's a comic book movie and to not care so much. So these kind of like scar type things, I don't know exactly what they are, but I'm gonna make them a little more asymmetrical too. You can see I've kind of gone over the same shapes like multiple times, and I do feel like that adds, I don't know, like depth. Definitely helps in making things feel more organic than probably what I could get with one stroke. Because I'm varying things, you know, each time. Why don't we just start rendering this, dude? I'm tired of all this. I mean, not really, but yeah, I want to get this going. So I think I'm going to hook it up to Keyshot now. And then, yeah, just see what's going on. I got to put in the objects, I guess, that are going to be the lights on his pad or on his cowl armor. But then, yeah, it's hot in here. All right. Okay. Okay. Let's start the render. Then I'll find out whether or not I want to start adding damage, because maybe I want to add some chips and stuff to this, but that's kind of fine tuning. I think some stuff I'm gonna need to do is give some things some UVs. So I'm gonna unwrap this guy. Okay, so this is unwrapped. I don't know if Thanos needs to be unwrapped, but I guess might as well. Boom. Unwrap this. Divide, divide, divide. Let's see if I uncrease right now. Tight. Unwrap. Cool. Unwrap. So I'm just unwrapping everything just in case I wanted to use some stuff in Keyshot, like procedural stuff. I don't know. Okay, now let's do all high. So I'm going to pop all the subdivision levels of all the subtools to the highest so we can take a look. All right, now we're going to send this over to Keyshot. Okay, so now it's moving everything into Keyshot. So here we are in Keyshot. This canvas looks a little cray-cray. Here we go. Is this it? How about portrait? There we go. Camera. We're gonna do. Okay, let's do a new one. Call it shot cam. And 85 millimeter. Yep, that's right. Or do we want to do 100 millimeter? Let's start with 85. Might end up cropping this more. I forgot about the lights. Whoops. Okay, so now we are in ZBrush. Why is it so slow? I don't know. Wait, is it like rendering? Let's pause. There we go. Ah, that's better. Okay. We gotta do the lights and the arms. Gonna do this, gonna do this. Auto groups. Do this. Okay, I think this will work. A little bit like this. Bam. Move. Poly group all. Yeah. Sometimes ZModeler is dope. You gotta be honest. So divide, divide, uncrease all, divide. So we calling these shoulder lights. So I'm prepping the ZBrush scene so that it works well in Keyshot. I had to make the little light thingies. And now I want to look for a background because I just want to spend some time in Keyshot. So I just Googled royalty-free space photo. And I'm going to hope that it's true. I feel like NASA would have some, but maybe NASA doesn't want you to use it. I don't know. How about royalty-free space NASA? Whoa. Okay. I think Hubble space photos would be tight. Hubble space images. And we want to do large. Dope. Damn. Oh man, this one's so tight. Can I just use this one? Damn, this one's tight. I just want to use this one, man. So, I'm probably going to use one of these. But damn, these are some fine ass pictures, man. Yeah, that's tight. Oh my God. Give it to me. Give it to me. Okay. Textures. That's what we'll call this. Hubble BG01. All right, pause. So there was time that passed. Some things happened in life. I did some iterations offline to get set up with the render. So now I'm better prepared to finish this out. Let's jump back in. I'll go over a little bit of the Keyshot scene for those interested, and we'll wrap Thanos up. What's up? So it's been a few days. In the meantime, I've been doing off some renders. Been doing a little bit of look development. So we were getting the model ready to Keyshot. We sent it over, and we were kind of starting our scene. So I've done a lot of iterations on the scene on how to, what HDRI to use, how I'm going to go about the studio setup. So I feel pretty confident that I figured out all that stuff, all the aspects. I also did a lot of the material work. I don't know if it's done, but it's, it's a lot farther than blocked out. So what we're going to do now is, now that I'm pretty sure I know how to do the final scene, there's a few things that I want to do to the model to punch it up. And also some things that I forgot, like the helmet thing right down the middle. Whoops. So let's make that piece of the helmet first. That should be pretty quick. Then I want to punch up the facial sculpt. Pretty much just like some of the wrinkles. I want to just deepen and make the forms a lot stronger. They're probably not as strong to begin with, but also once I applied a shader with some translucency, that always softens some stuff anyways. So if I want something to be a little bit more of a graphic shape, I'm going to have to really emphasize that stuff. And then it should be fun to ding up the armor. I want to just spend some time, causing some wear and tear on the armor. Make it look a little bit more interesting from a model point of view. And then we'll paint a quick gloss map on the skin, which will make it look a little bit more complicated. Bring some complexity and some naturalism to the skin, which I think will help in the final render. Then we got to finish our teeth too. Again, shouldn't take too long. And we should be able to make an image of this guy. All right, cool. So let's jump in. So let's get back to making our helmet. So here we are back in ZBrush. Okay. So let's duplicate this guy. We will delete all the higher stuff. Just duplicating and then ripping off what we want. Let's go a little wider than we need to start with. I wonder how far back it would even go. Actually, these three right here look pretty cool. So that's what I'm gonna say. So then we just need to get rid of these last ones. Boom, boom, boom. If I show you the double-sided, then it's a lot more clear. You can see these are just the pieces now. I'll delete hidden. Now here's our new pieces. So I don't think we need to Z remesh because that's how we got this to begin with. Maybe with some Z modeler to clean this up. I think we can just use this. Something like this, maybe. I mean, we're not going to show the back of the head, right? So I really shouldn't care that much about the back. But it's hard. It's hard not to, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, it looks dumb. Do we like it with the lip? I don't know. It looks a little dainty. I think another thing we could do is just do kind of a strong bevel edge. I'm going to backtrack some now. Can we delete this? Now can we bevel more? Yes, we can. So this might look better. Yeah, this looks better. Simple. It's really, really simple. Maybe we can put some shape into it. So now we have a bit of an issue to figure out how does this sit on the helmet. So really I'm just going to drop this down and move it a little bit, see what happens. Yeah, I think that's fine. Love this retro spaceman look. I mean, I like the tight bevel, and be honest. I am worried at how much screen space this middle thing is. Whenever that happens, something so large and so simple, I worry how to keep it interesting with that much of the image is going to be that. So I think we're gonna, when we do our wear and tear pass, we're gonna have to do a nick and some scratches. Maybe I could do a panel line in between or play with the shape. As of right now, I kind of like this. I just, like I say, I'm worried because of how simple it is ultimately. See what happens if we uncrease it on this one. Might need to go up one more. No, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Tight. Cool. All right, so now let's punch up the skin sculpt. At least the tertiary details and some of the wrinkles. I'm just gonna go over it again with mostly the damp standard brush, probably maybe a little bit of inflate, but the idea here is to choose a few key wrinkles and really emphasize them, including the scars around the mouth. I need the scars around the mouth to be deeper, and some of the key wrinkles. Again, this is so that we can kind of have a little bit more of a graphic shape on just a few of the wrinkles. Everything right now is kind of even in terms of the depth. You know, it's all just kind of half done. It's not that strong. And once the translucent shader is on there, then it just blurs everything out, washes everything out. So we have to emphasize even more. And I want there to be a graphic shape, you know, to make it look like a grimacing Thanos, especially these lines on the face. Let's see, do we even have a layer going? Oh, we didn't make any layers, huh? Okay. Why don't we do that now? Maybe we want to even solo this guy, and then we'll do a new layer. We'll just call it detail pass. Good enough. So now we can always remove whatever. I can also store morph target. Keeping it irregular still. You know, I'm kind of thinking them as scars and keeping some organic patterns to them. Probably go over them with a some kind of inflate probably. So just trying to go backwards and forwards kind of in a regular way that helps this look more, you know, it's varying the depth and stuff. I'm probably going to come over this too with a I'll just make my brush larger. That'll help make the more like bigger pillowy shape. But right now I want to work on the crispy version. And I can go over this with something else, maybe inflate or just some form soft or whatever to pillow the forms in between these lines. All right, I'm gonna start speeding this up now. So just going over these wrinkles, the ones around the eye, a little bit of the snarl, and the scars around the mouth. Those are the main ones. Maybe a wrinkle or two in the corners of the mouth for the smile. But some fine lines too. That's mainly to break up the light. And then the other ones, you know, increasing the size of that damn standard brush to really make a more pillowy form. So you can see the combination between. You just use the inflate right there, which is great for the like crow's feet scrunch. Actually, I get kind of that squeeze just because of the inflate brush. So playing around with different levels here of fine lines and wrinkles. Ones that I want it to really look like there's some secondary forms pillowing out, and it's the skin's compressing, and then some fine lines, you know, for the scars around the mouth. Right here, doing the lips. Again, really fine line type stuff. Using just alpha from Zbrush and stamping it around. So you'll see in the render, most of this stuff is just to break up the light, just to make it look more natural and organic, and not paying too much attention to it, just getting some quick things with the stamp and then going it over with more damn standard brush. Okay. Well, we've strengthened some of the wrinkles here, made some things crispier. Overall, I think we made some slight improvements, and hopefully it renders a little bit better. And yeah, we added the armor piece. Cool. So maybe I'll leave this for now. You know, maybe I'll wait, you know, to get another render before we go farther on this. But I also need to ding up the armor. So that, I think that's going to be pretty fun. So probably just going to use a combination of trend dynamic, damn standard, that kind of stuff. Getting a little distracted here with this wrinkle. Okay, I just think that these cheeks would be like swelled up because of the snarl, and it would smooth out the wrinkle. That's why I did that. Anyways, let's get over to the armor. Let's say we're good for now on the skin, the little face punch up pass we did. And start dinging up the armor. So I'm gonna combine our new piece, this guy, with the rest of the armor, and if it's the same subdivision level, I'll be able to just merge it, and it'll keep all the subdivision levels with everything. So since it's at 6, I'm gonna drop it to 2. I'm gonna delete lower. That leaves us with 5. So I make sure this is at 5. I make sure the rest of the armor is at 5. Then I can merge down. And here we go. You can see in the upper left, it's reconstructing the subdivisions. and it's just combining everything and then reconstructing all the way back down. So once it's done, I'll have one subtool and it'll have 5 subdivision levels. There we go. Then I get to move this back into, you know, Keyshot as one object and apply one material and so on. Just makes it easier to work on as one. Some tools for beating this up. 2 off the top of my head, pretty common, is Trim Dynamic and H Polish. I'll just come over here. I'm gonna definitely turn off symmetry for this stuff. We can get in here and isolate. Maybe we want to leave this material on actually, but I'll show you the Trim Dynamic right here. Come over here, I can just tap an edge, you see, bam. I'll just do it real hard so you can see. Maybe it's better to not have this on. It's a little similar to H Polish, except, you know, it kind of dynamically changes based on the facing angles. So it just makes it easier to create these little, like, dings. It's like right here, boom, should do a little ding right there. Definitely on this guy, gonna do some dings, see? That's nice and soft. Maybe I want to do a big old one somewhere. So I can just come across. You know, this just helps make it look a little bit less perfect. Get a little ding right here, get a little ding right here. So let's take a look at /1 again. I used to really like this one, although you can see how it bubbles up. I think going across a couple different pieces is good. It tells a story and it kind of merges this stuff, you know. So you can see once you have enough resolution, like on this piece, this has more resolution than the relatively than the again, remember, we're going to go too far and then we're going to take it back. Do these half moon shapes that are just kind of like opposite each other. Okay. So some of these I like. I like this one. This even feels like a little bit of a dent and then a skid. I'm definitely going to keep that. This looks a little too perfect, so I'm going to get rid of this. Just going to get rid of this up here. And we're emulating some of it, like, I mean, I'm kind of doing a gold, kind of doing a brassy thing. It's a little bit of a fake material, but either way, it's, I think it's soft. That's what I'm thinking of. So I'm leaving some of these that are going to work fine. Definitely like that big one. Get a little bit of a trim dynamic in here too. This is okay. Can even pinch some of this stuff. Switch back to the trim dynamic, and I'm gonna blunt some of these edges. But I can also just kind of tap sometimes too. Get a part where the light's shining. There we go. Boop. You can see that, but it's just making the light more irregular. So I can go to H polish too. You can see I'm like making some things a little bit more plainer. If I move it around, I vary my pressure. Again, just makes it look less perfect, a little bit more hammered. Okay. Well, I think we did an okay job here. So we did a little bit of damage. I think that's gonna be all right. We could even add some like surface noise, some pitting and stuff, but I think if we're gonna end up doing that, might as well do that in Keyshot. That way we don't bake it into the model. Now I think the last thing we need to do is work a little bit on the teeth. Make sure that they're good. Maybe we'll do a little bit of scratches on them just so the light catches them and feels a little bit more natural. Why don't we jump over the teeth now and see how much res do we have here. I think this will be enough. All right, for the teeth, I'm just gonna do some general noise, just some like nicks and scratches so that it doesn't look perfectly clean. So I'm just grabbing that spray brush, that alpha that comes with ZBrush, same thing we did for the fine lines and wrinkles, the surface tertiary stuff for the skin, and I'm just spraying it up and down all over the teeth. Okay. So the teeth has a bunch of scratches on it now, which is probably good. Maybe this will be the first model that we paint some color, because these teeth do need color. A lot of the other materials are going to be procedural, you know, just like armor, the car paint type of, you know, like retro flake paint that's going to be in his helmet. I'm just going to drop those on there and then try to do as much as I can procedurally. But this one's going to have a couple colors. So we might end up doing some procedural stuff like noise to this too. but we definitely need to lay down some color. So it'll be really quick and easy, like super dirty, but we can go through the process on this one. So first thing we'll do is drop down to first subdivision level. We're gonna give it some UVs, boom. All right, now that we have UVs, drop back up, we're gonna poly paint this. So first thing, we'll just fill it with some colors. Instead of red gums, I assume it's gonna be like a dark purpley gums. And for the teeth, you know, it's gonna be like whitish, yellowish. Now we'll just paint some, well, why don't we do like veins? Where's some veins at? Boom. All right, so just spraying some colors now. You can see pretty heavy-handed, like I say, real dirty, and that's fine. You can just go over it as many times as you want. The key here is just getting all this different variation that we get just by doing it by hand, spraying some stuff, choosing different colors. And really, when it comes to the overall saturation and even the contrast of stuff, we can tweak stuff with nodes in Keyshot. So the real important thing here is to lay down some color variation for these different parts of the teeth. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make this a texture map. We're gonna go over to texture map. We're gonna open this create palette right here, and then new from poly paint, because we just painted that in poly paint. And here you go, you can see the automatic UVs. Now it's a flat map. So to export this, I have to hit clone. That opens it over here in the texture tab. Then I can export this. So I'll export this to my project folder. I'll make it a PNG, and I'll just call this Thanos teeth. Okay, now we're gonna do the same thing that we just did by painting the gums. We're gonna poly paint the face, but we're just gonna use black and white because what we're gonna be making is a gloss map. Eventually it's actually gonna be a roughness map, which is like the inverse, but it's just more natural for me to paint a gloss map, and then we'll just invert it in Keyshot. That'll give us more than just a solid glossiness value for the skin. So by varying the glossiness, it's going to make it look a lot more organic. And that's something that we can pretty quickly do. Again, we'll use a cavity mask too to kind of make the pores and our details sit back and be less shiny. And then it'll help break up the light and kind of highlight the work that we did to help it make a little bit more like skin. So I want to just highlight this guy. Okay, so we need to fill in with a color that'll first be our kind of baseline glossiness value. White is as glossy as possible. Black is no gloss at all. So it's very rough. So this is like a mirror, and this is like coal or something. So we're gonna, in terms of glossiness, we're gonna go a little bit on the high end, a little bit over half, because we do want them to be glossy, I think. Layers in poly paint are weird, and I still to this day don't understand it. Okay, so I turned off recording, and it let me do it. I don't know. So I filled it with this color. Now we will paint on the oily parts of the skin. So we'll use white, and we'll start laying down where we're gonna make oil, you know, on the T-zone, let's say, and also the inside of the mouth, the lips, gonna be wet from the saliva, and we want the lips to shine. Hopefully not too glossy like he's wearing lip gloss, but I have to go over it a couple times because I made the RGB value low, but that's okay. Okay, so let me just quickly get a normal brush. Go back to this, and then we'll start painting the lips. Also in here, the tear duct, we're gonna make very glossy. And then we'll just make around the eyelids glossy, like it's wet a little bit. So now we have a couple different values here. We can check it by going to the flat color. There you go. Now we are going to mask the cavities. I'm gonna go to cavity mask. Just gonna turn down the blur to 1, and then I hit mask, and here we go. So I'm gonna invert this, control click my background. I'm gonna turn off view mask, and then I'm gonna start filling the pores with a darker value. I'm gonna be gentle though first. I don't want it to be too crazy. Just want to start seeing the pores. You know, that way I just know it's gonna break up the light. Same thing with these wrinkles. And we can always crank these like the contrast on this in Keyshot, so it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just the idea of getting some irregularity in the gloss. Boom, here's our model, here's our poly paint. Then we can go over here to our texture map, create, new from polypaint. There she blows. Clone texture, it's over here. Export. Boom. Exported. Cool. So now we've got our guy ready to move back over to Keyshot. And then, yeah, start setting up the final scene. Cool. So if we check out Keyshot, you can see I have it paused. For me to throw this back over here, I have to unpause it. Sure, I'll save it. This is just a little Keyshot note. In my experience, if you don't have a texture map applied to the mesh, even if though it has UVs, sometimes Keyshot doesn't recognize that it has UVs. So I'm gonna leave these texture maps on. But more than likely, over here in Keyshot, all these materials are gonna get wiped out. So like I say, I saved these to my own little folder, and I have to unpause this. So now it's starting to render. Now I'm gonna jump back over to Keyshot, or sorry, I'm gonna jump back over to ZBrush. Then I'm gonna go to render. Keyshot is set up here. Good. Make sure that I'm out of perspective so it doesn't send the camera. And then I'm gonna click BPR. That's sent it back over to Keyshot. You can see it's loading. And most likely it'll wipe out all the shaders, and then we'll just have to reapply. And then we can add the maps that we have, and should look a lot better. All right, so here's our guy. This is gonna be Thanos skin. You see if I go over to my materials, here we go. Thanos skin, right, yeah, boom. Teeth. Actually, there's a plastic in here that's called soft shiny, right here. I think this is what we'll use on the teeth. There might be some translucency, that's why I say that. Shoulder light, good, the light's assigned. Metal flakes, good. And this is our armor. All right, so go to my folder. And here's the armor that I saved. Boom. Bam. All right, now let me go into my Thanos skin. Check out my glossiness map. Boom. Roughness. Skin gloss. Boom. Okay, so I have to do some editing here actually. Let me open the material graph. I'm gonna try to full screen this here. So I'm gonna close this and hopefully we can see. So you can see him here. Why don't I do a little region? We'll get the nose and the lips. So we're gonna do a color to numbers node in here. That's what Keyshot calls this thing. That's really handy. If I hit C on the keyboard, I'm gonna isolate this. The mapping type is set to box. We have to change that to UV. There you go. That's what we're looking for. Cool. First thing we're gonna do is invert this. We can do that by changing the output to and from. So there we go. So now this is what makes this a roughness map, because now when it's darker, that means things are less rough, right? And that's our oily stuff. So maybe we need to crank that up a little bit. By playing with the to and from, we can change the values. So I just darkened it, you see? Okay, so why don't we undo this? Let this resolve for a little bit. Wow, I can hear the fan of my computer going crazy. Oh, it doesn't seem hot though, so the fan's going crazy. We're doing some rendering now, dudes. We are actually making this computer work for it. Work for it. Okay. Why don't we turn off region for right now? Texture. Thanos teeth. And then make sure it's UVs. Bam. So we're going to do a little region action again. Now, translucent shaders take a lot longer to render because they're calculating the light bouncing around. They do a lot more passes. So I think I'm just going to sit here and wait for this one to finish. Well, maybe we just do a render and see what it looks like. The whole shebang. So I'm going to set this off to render, and I'm going to see you in a bit. My tests were taking around 18 minutes per render, so I assume that's about what this one's going to take. So I'm going to set this, we're going to take a look at it in all of its pixels. I'm only going to render it about 2K wide. The final one will be a lot more, but let's just see how all the work we did has impacted the image, and then we'll see where to go from there. Here's the results of our render. So right off the bat, I feel like the teeth are too dark. In general, his teeth are a little bit dirty or something like that. So I want him to be a little whiter. So we're probably going to do that in Keyshot. Maybe play with the gloss on the skin. Honestly, I'm a little like disappointed on the tip of the nose and the lips, which is where I want it to be very glossy. Maybe we'll take a look. And then in terms of the armor damage, I think it's mostly successful. I can jump in here, by the way, and we can see like I think this is dark. The detail we put on the teeth is good. The way it breaks up the light, I think that's good. The detail on the lip is pretty good, but I think we actually don't want so much cavity on here. In general, I think we're gonna have to go back to ZBrush, make some of these edits, and then bring it back. And down here, I think a lot of the damage is good, but you can see because of the topology, because of how the resolution worked out on the torso, it's really pixelated in areas. Right here too. Even right here. So I think what we're gonna do is just smooth that stuff out in ZBrush. I don't really want to break it off. I'd have to break it off from the subtool and then divide it one more time and then append it back in. So I don't think it's worth all that. We could also just fix this in post, honestly. But I'm just gonna smooth it out. Let's jump back to ZBrush, do some of these fixes, and then come back and do another render and see if we can fine tune this so we can make that final image. Okay, speeding this up, back over in ZBrush now. You can see me cleaning up those scratches and smoothing out the egregious low quality ones. Popping over to poly paint, adding some brighter values on the places I want to be more glossy, you know, more shiny, and then knocking back the places that I don't. So this is just a quick kind of iteration based on some stuff that we saw when we did that render in Keyshot. So I just popped back over to ZBrush, and then I fixed up anything that might have been making the picture worse. So we fixed some of those things. Let's send her back. To send this back, we have to make sure that in Keyshot we are unpausing this, hit BPR, and hopefully nothing goes wrong. This might be a good time to tell you. So while I was doing my first look development pass, I was even recording a little bit. I had it open for more than a day. It was open and I would do renders, and you know, I was doing high res renders too. So sometimes it would take 30 minutes or an hour. I was working on it for a while and then it crashed. And then when I tried to reopen the file, it just wouldn't work. It somehow corrupted the file. And when I rolled back using my revision control, my time machine stuff, I could never open a version of the file. So I had to remake the file, and that hurt, you know, and I had to deal with that, and I had to remake the scene. But overall, I do think, you know, I knew how to make it. It just kind of bummed me out because I was recording each step and I thought it'd be a cool like montage of the look development progression. But in the end, like now that I'm past it, I think it's just good to share that this stuff happens. And at this point, like I'm pretty good at saving all the time. I have Time Machine to roll back to versions that get corrupted. It's just something unique about Keyshot that I don't understand on how they store their files or something. But it got kind of permanently corrupted the version of the Keyshot file, and I just had to make it again, you know. But for whatever it's worth, it happens to the best of us. Get used to saving. If you could have some sort of revision control so you could roll back, or you know what I did for years is just save like an alternate version with numbers on it, so if anything happens you can go back to another one. You know, this just happens. Everyone I know that does this, every now and again you just lose work. That's a hazard of the job. Okay, so scene, this guy is Thanos. Drop our Thanos skin over here. Okay, now we have this locked, right? Yeah, so now we're gonna go to the free camera. And I'm gonna zoom in. We're gonna do a little bit of detail stuff, just a little bit. I want to revise the flaky paint. And let's see what we can do about the skin. What I think is going on with the skin, and we'll do a little region. Okay. And then I think this is what is making it darker. I think that's okay. Now, do we want to add tiny bump or do we want to add more glossiness breakup? I could actually add a curvature to this. I mean, I don't know if I want to, but check this out. Let's see. Curvature. And then this is, how about color composite? Here, so if we isolate this one, there you go. You can see the curvature, right? So I'm going to make this, I'm going to screen it on. That's right. So that means this is going to be black. This is going to be white. For the composite style, we're going to do blend mode, screen, And the background alpha we'll do 0.5 and see what we get right now. Hey, cool. I broke it up more. Tight. All right. Curvature node and Keyshot for the win. I'm going to save old Thanos skin here since we like it. Good. Now, flaky paint. I think we can improve this. Okay, here we go. Metal color. Let's make this extreme, dude. We need to make this crazy. There we go. Probably brighter. Flake size, I think we gotta go a little smaller. 0.3. And then the density, let's up it a little bit. Sweet. And we got some of our speckles in there. If we check out this graph, I put some metal flakes in here. This is based on a tutorial by Esben, I think his name is. I'll link it. But yeah, really cool tutorial. He does all these great YouTube tutorials about Keyshot. And I stole his flaky paint one. So we have some spots here that you can see, and I made them square, and then I made them a little distorted and randomized. They're a metal. This is an opacity for a metal material that's going to be on top of the flaky paint. This is a bump map that we're looking at right now. You saw the flakes; those are the opacity. So the reason why there's this jaggedy bump map is that hopefully it makes those flakes look like they're reflecting light in different directions, as if they're turning in the coating. So this gives more variety. Okay, maybe this glossiness, maybe we can drop this, maybe we can go up a little bit. Yeah, that's better. It was so glossy that it was reflecting black so often, you know. This looks better. Let's see if we cut this in half though. What do we get? Okay, so I think we've improved our flaky paint. I think we've improved our skin. Still looks like, I'm worried that what's going on here is the glossiness for the skin is actually too glossy, which makes it so we can't really even see it actually. So I keep changing the contrast and the black value. It's always harder for me to judge roughness maps than glossiness maps for some reason. Now we're losing too much. What's happening is it's getting so glossy on the lip that it's just these little pinpoints of highlights, and then I'm losing it on the nose. So it's like just fighting this battle for some reason because I didn't get the values right. Let's see what we got. Cool. Now that helmet looks a lot more glittery, which is cool. Still not too happy with the skin gloss. I think that's working. All right, I think we're gonna let this one render too. See what we get. Okay, I'm gonna throw off another render. So I'll catch you guys in a sec, and then we'll see what it looks like. Boom. So here's the render as it came out. As the sun is setting, we are finishing. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I'm ready to take this into Photoshop and finish it. I don't think it's perfect, but overall, I think it's pretty good. I still think the teeth are a bit dark. I wish there was more light bouncing around. I think also maybe, I don't know about too glossy, but maybe too reflective. But it's okay. Also, I wish there was a tighter highlight on the nose. I think the curvature node in Keyshot was a big success. I want to remember that. Actually, I think next time then what I would probably do is in poly paint, I would just paint the glossy parts, and then I would just handle the curvature part in Keyshot and just mix it that way. And then I can separately, you know, play with the value and the contrast of the glossiness part to dial that in, and it'd be a lot faster and give me more control. So next time I do something similar to this, that's probably what I'm gonna do. I'm also pretty happy with the flaky paint. I think that came out good. You can see in the highlight here on the edge where I have a kind of a gloss map or a roughness map that has some like scratches and stuff on it. And overall, I think it looks pretty flaky. The damage on the armor I think is pretty good. We'll fix some of this stuff in Photoshop, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm happy with the render. I think all the improvements we made were good improvements, and now I'm ready to just render off a big one. This last render took a little over 20 minutes about. Now I'm gonna raise the size, and it's probably gonna take more than an hour. So I'm just gonna let this go, and then I'm actually just gonna go get some groceries. I'll be right back. And then I'll probably assemble this image maybe tonight or tomorrow morning. I'm also in Keyshot, I'm gonna click include transparency so I get a clean matte off this. Why don't we just take this to 4K and just make a big old one, you know? So I'm gonna hit render and let this go. It is 6:50 right now. I assume this is gonna take about an hour and a half or more. We'll see. And then I'll see you back here to finish up the image and call it done. And we're back. So here we are after the image is rendered. This is the following day. And that render, in case you're curious, took 2 hours and 33 minutes. Which is pretty long, but in the grand scheme of things, not too long. I did leave and let it finish. You can see it's really big. I have my render passes here in Photoshop, but if we zoom in here, you can see it's really big. I like to render much larger than I need to, you know, if I have that luxury, and in this case I did. But yeah, for anyone curious in doing their own renders, you know, I've done renders that have taken like 7 hours, so this is not too bad. So if you see over here on the right hand side, I've got these few passes. I did a depth pass. We're gonna probably need to edit this a little bit in case I wanted to do a little bit of a focal depth on the character as if it was shot, you know, with a lens. Definitely what I'm planning to do is blur the background a lot to pop him off the background. That's what's cool about using an image editor with all these different options. We're gonna try to keep this non-destructive till the very end, and you can do like limitless variations, honestly. So I also have an AO pass, cause why not? I might end up using this, especially on the wrinkles of the face and stuff. Maybe I'll end up using it. And then I have a reflection pass too. Not sure if we're gonna use this, but I just got it in case I wanted to pump up the shine on the skin. So these just give me a little bit more options, but here's the beauty. So you remember that Hubble image that we found? Bam. So this is what I'm gonna use as the basis of the background. I'm also gonna use this image, which is a star field. I think this is actually a video loop. I found this as a sample image on downloops.com. So I assume this moves and you can use it for footage, but I'm just gonna use it to get more stars in the background. I just want it to be a little bit noisy. Again, we're gonna blur that. There could be something really cool between all of the stars in the background, like the universe surrounding him and the flecks of the paint in the helmet. So we'll see, maybe it'll be too noisy and then we'll just blur the crap out of it. So why don't we start by grabbing this image. We'll jump over here and we'll throw it into the background. Okay, so here's our background. Scale this guy up real big. So I'm gonna end up cropping this a couple different ways. Yeah, that's pretty tight. I'm gonna leave that. We'll grab our stars too, keeping everything separate in case we want to control anything. All right, perfect. So we can set this to screen. Boom, there we go with our stars. So already we can see what's going on. Pretty cool. Gonna vary the levels of the stars. Kind of like that there's a lot of them, but actually why don't we do a curves just to get a little bit of red and blue in here because of the it'll help us tighten in the background, I think, actually. So one of the few things I need to add is the glowing eyes. So why don't I just paint a layer for that now? Might be a couple layers actually, so I might just make a little folder here. So first I'm gonna make just a fill color eyes. Make that a folder. I'll just do a little solid color here. Just call it blue for now. Let's jump in here. Paint this guy. Okay, so now we're saying these eyes are blue. I mean, color dodge would definitely work. That's not bad. Now I'm gonna paint in some irises here. This is gonna take some back and forth, just like when you're doing a character or a texture, like the size of these irises and everything. It's gonna be a big deal, so might as well just pick a brush I can put down. I'm gonna grab my smudge tool, and I'm actually just gonna make it blurry. Why don't we make this color dodge now? Why don't I duplicate this? Make this normal, I guess, and then I'm gonna blur the mask. Cool. Here he is with glowy blue eyes. So just the smooth brush and overlaying layers with color dodge and stuff to get this kind of burny effect. Maybe I'll even like gently get rid of some of the super blue in the edges. There we go, got a little halo, bam. Cool. Glowing eyes, I think, success. Now, why don't we play with ambient occlusion? So So here's our ambient occlusion map. First, I think we're gonna give it a little bit of color, but why don't we do that in context? So if I turn this to multiply, you can see just the dark areas show up. So in some cases this helps. Overall, I don't want to make it too dark of an image. You know, from back here though, you can see it helps a little bit. I think what we're gonna do is soften it a bit. Where pieces get next to each other, I think that soft shadowing is pretty successful. But I don't want to compound this stuff too much. I think we want the eyes to be on top still. That way they don't get any darker. Why don't we open our hue saturation and colorize the ambient occlusion. I'm just going to do it too much right now so you can see that it's red. So probably want to do like a purpley red. There you go, maybe like this. That's no color. That's some color. A little bit of color right here. And then we can curves this too. I think what we want to do is brighten it a little bit. Pretty gradual. Let's see what we got right here. Okay, I think we're getting a win right there. I like this. Kind of want to fake a little bit of a bounce light, you know? That's the idea. Why don't I see... Ooh, that's good. All right, so we're getting a little bit of a pop out of that. I like it. Okay, for me to use the depth the way that I want to use it, I'm going to have to edit it a little bit. The way I want to use the depth map is white is closest to the camera, black is farthest away. Also though, I want to pull the levels closer together. That way we can get a fade of depth, the shallowness. By controlling the level of value from light to dark in the whole figure, it's effectively it's me editing the shallowness of that depth of field. So I want it to be shallow enough that we can keep parts of the face in focus and then start to get a little bit of roll off in the head. So it'll look a little bit more like a portrait that way. It'll direct the eye to where we want the eye to be directed, and it helps everything else sit back in the background, and then we're going to blur the crap out of the background. So say I start playing with these levels. Actually, maybe I'll do this. See how I can see stuff in the face now? Okay, that's what we want. I got to invert this though. So now I'm going to multiply this. Hopefully this is what I'm worried about, is this edge. There we go. That ought to work. So we'll merge this and we'll call this our depth pass. So this is the part where it's starting to get destructive because I'm about to blur this. So I'm just going to put this depth map in the alpha channel. That way we can pick it up with our lens blur here. So we'll go filter, blur, lens blur. So it's actually already found our depth map as the source, alpha 1. And it actually gives me a pointer here to choose the focal point. So I'm going to click right here on the nose. You can see because our image is so big, it takes a while. Okay, so definitely the background is bokehing out the way I want, but obviously it's way too shallow, way too harsh on the helmet. So with these settings, this is why I might end up blurring the background separate. It's two different effects. This one makes the stars smaller, which I kind of like. Remember, because of the flex in the paint, there's just something cool about that. But I might end up blurring the background separately so I can really blur the background and then pull Thanos away. And we are going to merge these together, a flattened version of the background. And now I'm going to blur the background first. No source. So right here, the specular highlights, the brightness I have really cranked up, and the threshold is what gets these stars. So I'm going to zoom in here and I'm going to blur this background a bunch. You can see how it fakes the bokeh like a camera lens. This makes it look like it's really crunched. It also makes it look like it's really, really far away, which is what we want. It makes it look more cinematic. If there was a close-up shot or a wide shot, I mean like a zoom shot of his face, this is kind of what it would look like. I'm going to back this off a little bit because I'm going to then flatten Thanos with the background and we're going to do another blur. So that's going to compound this. So I'm going to drop this a little bit, duplicate this, flatten it again. Just making sure we still got on the clipboard. Oh, good. It's already here. Now we'll play around with the settings just to dial the focus in on Thanos himself. I just kind of want the edges to blur a little bit, and I'll probably reduce that specular. Okay, we'll get in here. We'll do focus right here. Good. So we're probably going to up the threshold. That will reduce the specular highlight. Although I want the stars to blow out, so let me need to drop this radius. Okay. Boom. Looks pretty nice. So now that we have things flattened, we used all those separate elements and we played with the settings. And now we merge them together, we kind of have one picture. So now I'm gonna kind of edit it as if I would a photograph. I'm gonna open up the camera raw filter stuff, and then we can start playing around with it. Like say we wanna play with the color temperature. Make it a little more golden, you know? What about the exposure? Pulling down the highlights a little bit, I like. Clarity is always a good one. If I crank it, you can see it's like way too much, right? But look at all the speckles on the helmet and the damage on the armor. So I want to do that just a little bit just to pop this stuff. Maybe 8's good. Vibrance, again, if I turn it way too much, oh, it's too much. But look how purple he gets, right? I like that. So I want to get some of the purple in there. Let's zoom in a little bit. We can add some film grain if we want over in effects. Oh, that's too much, right? But maybe we want to add a little bit. Give it some tooth, make it look a little bit more photographic. Definitely want to do a post-crop vignette right here. Again, this is too much, but if I do just a little bit, it helps focus in and look like a portrait. Although I might have to do this after the crop. So I'll come back in here and give a vignette after I crop it. All right, now where's the purples at? There we are. Here's our purples. Yeah, let's make the purples pop. So I think this is good. I want his face, I want the skin of him to be unique in this picture. So it's immediately, you know, a color on its own. We have some purples up here in the clouds. This is some pretty stuff, man. I love this photo. But we are going to crop a lot of that out. But I think this helps to separate his face from the helmet and from the colors of the background. All right, I'm pretty happy with this. Okay, cool. So we'll save this and we'll do a couple crops. Let's do our first one, 16 by 9. So here's our widescreen version. We'll jump into the camera raw filter, a little brighter. Do a little bit of a vignette. Boom, we'll save this as the widescreen. And these are ginormous. So I can scale these if I want. So I'll scale and resize these for whatever I'm posting on, like Instagram or, you know, online like ArtStation. I'll resize these to be, you know, an okay size that looks good on people's browsers and phones. But for the source, I like to work on it super big. That way I can, you know, do separate crops. I can change whatever I want about it. So it just makes it a lot more fluid. All right, now for the next crop, I'm gonna do the phone resolution, which is 1920 tall and 1080 wide. There we go. Saturate that, I need to be hot. Here is our guy. Purple as ever. I like it saturated. Tight. I think some of the shapes and stuff that I stole from these comic book artists went a long way. I love this kind of retro-y vibe. Shout out to like Jordu Shell for inspiration of the car paint helmet and doing this retro style character in a hyper realistic way. Something that I think is cool. So I want to take a moment too, real quick, just to say, like, I think it's easy to overlook how dope actually Thanos is just as a digital character. We can see the evolution of him in the earlier movies and how they improved it, and it's interesting to see what they did to improve stuff. But the final version of Thanos is really well done. I think it's kind of a testament at the work that a bunch of people did on Thanos and how invisible some of their work is to say a huge buff purple guy in armor, that is a tough brief. So it's a testament to all the people that brought Thanos to life, and from big to small, I think a lot of the little things is what ended up selling Thanos. Obviously the writing, dialogue, and the digital performance that they put together, Josh Brolin's voice, just lending like gravity and some realism to it. But the fact that they took so much care in making the skin look realistic, in sculpting his facial features, as well as the little tertiary details, and really helping bring something that I think on paper is kind of ridiculous to life in a modern movie. Also, a separate shout out to Ironhead Studios, who does awesome work, and I just thought this prosthetic is amazing. So this was a screen test for whether or not they were gonna do, well, I guess the studio was figuring out whether they were gonna do a digital character or a practical character, And Jose Fernandez is the guy who leads up this studio. Their work is amazing, by the way. You know, if you haven't seen Ironhead Studio, I'm sure a lot of you have seen their work if you haven't heard of them. But they released some of these prosthetic. This is the sculpt, and I just think it's super dope. There's one of these images that's so tight. So this is an actor, and they have the prosthetic on. They're taking photos to see, like, would this end up being okay? This one's tight. This one's tight. Look at that. That looks like a movie poster, man. These wrinkles right here. Anyways, I thought this was super dope. Cool to see what it would have been like if Thanos were to be a practical character too. All right, cool. Well, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Here's our Thanos image. Wrap. So thank you for following along in this little project, this little tribute to Endgame and Thanos. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoyed the piece at the end. Maybe you even learned a thing or two. Like the video if you did. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And until the next one, peace.